Hello there, and welcome back to another Remnants of Naezith individual level discussion video. You probably noticed right away that my voice sounds a little different. It's because I got a fancy new headset, so videos should sound a little bit clearer moving forward. Let me know what you think. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Memorial. This is a level that features lowering and raising water levels for the first time. Very interesting. The level itself has two sections. On the right are the floating platforms, and on the left are the slimy walls. And then, of course, at the top, you have the remnant to get to. There's a lot to be said about this level. There are some very slow ways to do it, like the one you just saw. There are some very fast ways to do it, and some very painful, hurt your hand ways to do it. Since we got a lot to get into, let's just hop right to it. Alright, so we're going to kick things off here with a beginner level route. You can see my time of 6.589, which puts me right around the 90 mark. This route is actually probably harder than the ones coming after it, so if you want to skip ahead to an easier and faster route, feel free. But talking about this level would be incomplete without this route. So let's take a look. And once more at half speed. Alright, so what's actually happening here? Well, to start things off, we are going to begin with a dash jump to the left, as you can see down here. And most of our routes are going to start off this way. We want to dash right away in this level so that we can have the extra dash at the end. There's enough time for several dashes in this level, so dash timing does actually matter. And you're going to see that we jump up, not too high, because if you jump too high, then this grapple is going to be really short. But you want to jump so that you can start falling and get a nice long grapple to start building up some speed. So you can see that happen right here. Jump up, start falling, and get a nice big grapple to start getting some speed. Here we're going to do a nice big hop, and then try to grab on towards the bottom of this pillar. The reason we want to grab onto the bottom of this pillar is because that extends our grapple as long as we can, and we're falling further into this so that we get a little bit more speed moving ahead. We're going to hold on to this until just after the vertical, and then start flying towards the left, and then we're going to grab onto the underside of this. I usually find that if you can try to aim for this little corner, this works best, but grabbing on sooner is just as good. And then we're going to dash. I dashed a little bit late here, but preferably right at the vertical so that we're getting the most out of our dash speed. And then you'll see that it sends us flying up, and the dash gives us a little bit of a boost to the sidewall. Now here I'm going to do a grapple and a jump to pull into this wall. You'll see that here. Grapple and a jump to start pulling. About halfway up, I'm going to let go and turn to the right. Do a jump to adjust my height and grapple onto this. And then I'm going to do a dash spin into a dash jump. This little dash jump at the end helps us get the height up into the remnant a little bit faster. So that is the beginner-ish route. As I said before, some of the ones coming after this are considerably easier and also much faster, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so here we have an intermediate run, and you'll notice at the top this is intermediate number 1. That's because there's actually a lot of different routes on this level, and so for the intermediate level I actually have two separate routes. This is the first one. I find this to be the easier one, but it's also a little bit slower than the other one. So let's just take a look. And once again at half speed. Alright, so let's break down what we're doing here. To start things off, we're going to do a nice big hop to the left. We don't want to hold it the full way because we want to be falling here to get a little bit of extra speed so that we can get a nice long grapple onto here. We're going to do a nice big jump so that we can grapple onto this block right on the corner as soon as possible. And then we're going to do a spin. Remember, the key to a good spin is to change direction on the horizontal part. So I start holding right here, and I'm going to start holding left once I reach this side, and to dash right at the bottom. See, I spin around, I start holding left here, and then I'm going to do a dash, and I'm actually going to release well before I reach the vertical because I need more horizontal speed to get me closer to the side. Assuming I have enough speed built up, it's just a simple dash jump and we are up to the remnant. So that's part 1. So for intermediate number 2, I have a run of 5.402, which puts me right around 25th, quite a little bit faster than the other route. So let's take a look at this. Once more at half speed. Alright, so let's break this down. To start things off, we're going to want to be doing a nice big jump to the left, and this one you actually notice that I double jump. The reason for that is sometimes whenever I'm starting a level, I'll have my muscle memory sort of fail out on me. So if one large jump keeps on going over the top or missing or something like that, I'll switch it up and do a double jump. Technically, they should be about the same. Maybe the double jump's actually a little bit worse in some cases just because it delays you to start falling. But we just want to make sure that we have a nice big jump, build up some speed so that when we fall and grapple onto this wall, it gives us a bunch of speed off of that. So the same as before, want to grapple onto there with a nice long grapple and come off with quite a bit of speed. Here we're going to aim to grapple, this time more towards the corner, the inside corner. And last time we wanted to start spinning as soon as possible, and this time we want to get more speed, so the more falling time we have going into this, the better off we are. So we get our grapple into that little corner, we're going to dash out of the vertical, and then release and start flying to the left. Again, with this route, it's more imperative, the same as the last one, that we get more horizontal speed, so that instead of overshooting our target up, we go farther to the left. And it's actually even more important in this route than in the last one. You'll see as we start reaching the top, I'm going to do a dash and then a jump towards the end of the dash. We want to start dashing sooner rather than later because our objective is to grapple onto this dirt block up here. And grappling onto this is rather difficult if you don't have enough X and Y speed coming into this. So the sooner we can dash back here, the easier it'll be to carry our speed up to a grapple up here. This ending part is probably the trickiest part and what makes this a little bit harder and faster than the last route. So you'll see as I'm coming up here, I throw out my grapple, and you'll actually see that while my grapple is out, I'm already holding on to the dash button as well. So I'm holding left, grapple, and as soon as my grapple connects, I start holding dash. That means that as soon as my dash comes up, it will buffer an input and start dashing here. I'm going to wait until a little bit before the vertical. This is rather hard to pull off if you wait until exactly below your grapple point, because what we're going to do is a dash pull here, and then we're going to release this grapple as we get really close to it, and do sort of a weave around to the right and back to the left. And this is going to be the ending for pretty much every other route from now on. A little bit hard to learn, but not too difficult. So it's a dash pull. We're going to let go here and start holding right to weave around this block and then back into the other side. And I'll talk about how to optimize this in some of the harder routes. For now, it looks something like this. We release, we weave to the right, and we weave back around to the left. And ta-da! We have made it into the Remnant. Alright, up next will be Expert. Alright, for this run we have a time of 5.052, which is just around top 10, and actually the fastest run that uses this exact route is -7's run of 4.905. So we're already reaching around the top 10. The run looks something like this. And once more at half speed. Alright, so let's break this down and break down what actually made this slow. So to start things off, we're going to do our same nice big hop into a long grapple. This is the same as all the other routes have been, so pretty easy. As soon as we reach the vertical part of this grapple, we're going to release and immediately do a dash jump, and we're going to hold this jump for the entire duration that we can. The reason for this is we want to get nice and high so that we can get a high grapple onto this and use that to swing up a little bit, and you'll see what we're aiming for after that. You see our full dash jump, holding that jump all the way through, and then we grapple up as soon as we can onto this block. I'm actually holding onto this a little bit past the vertical so that we get some more upwards momentum, and you'll see here that I do a jump and then I grapple up onto the top of here so that I can swing through. And actually, my jump and grapple could have been a little bit earlier on, and you'll see that right here. So I jump, and then my grapple comes out a little bit late. Optimally, you would be hitting farther up onto the top part of this, maybe even on top of the block itself, just so that you have a longer grapple, and when you release, you're higher up over here. Continuing on, we'll input a dash. My dash was a little bit late here. You want to dash right at the vertical so that you go flying up here. And then the ending is going to be the same as before. Now for this ending, you'll notice that I don't do a particularly good job of going closer to the vertical, and I also do a pretty terrible job of weaving around the side. And the reason that we want to weave around the side, I think I just reset. Wonderful. Alright, back up here. The reason that we want to weave around the side is you'll notice as soon as I hit this block here, my X movement speed goes to 0. And it's going to stay at 0 until I clear this block, and then I'm going to start moving. But in that little in-between time, I'm probably going to only get up to maybe 70 or 80 movement speed before I hit the remnant. If I were to weave and go around the side, I can start moving in so that once I clear the top of this block, I already have, say, 200 or so movement speed. So I hit the remnant just that little tiny bit faster. Small optimizations here. Anywho, we hit the remnant, and that is our expert run. Up next is Descendant. Alright, for this run, after a little bit of attempting, I got a time of 4.548. As you can see, puts us around 7th place. Right now, the best time with this route is Snowball's 4.403 in 3rd. And I know you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, why is this the Descendant route if there are 2 better routes? And we'll get into that afterwards. For now, let's take a look at this. And once more at half speed. Alright, so what's actually happening here? This one looks much more complicated than the others. So to start things off, this time we're actually going to be doing a dash jump off the start, the same as the beginner route. We've come full circle. This jump isn't going to go super high because we're going to have enough speed to grapple on towards the top of this, but we don't want it to be a super low jump either because of what we have to do after this grapple. So you'll see that I hit this grapple up towards the top. I'm going to hold on until as close to the vertical as I can get, and then things get a little bit scary. So we grab on, hit the grapple nice and high, hang on until the vertical, and then I release, and you'll notice that as soon as I release, right now I'm already jumping. And my goal here is to release this grapple, hold jump, and immediately input another grapple. So that's a very quick series of holding on to grapple, you release, then jump, then hold grapple again. And optimally, you'll hit up towards this little wider hanging ledge. Sometimes you'll hit this lower part, sometimes you'll miss entirely depending on where you are coming off of this grapple. But here, my grapple goes out and I hit the very corner of this, and you'll notice that I'm still holding jump because I want to make sure that I'm as high up for this part as I can. As soon as I release here, I'm going to be doing a nice full jump into a long grapple onto this part here so that I have a little bit extra height, and I want to grapple as soon as possible for more speed. Like this, a nice big jump. I grapple as soon as I can. And then I'm actually going to release as I hit the vertical and input another jump held as long as I can. And then I'm going to grapple onto this little block here for some extra speed and continue onwards. So a little grapple. As soon as that grapple ends, I'm going to jump once again. Lots of jumping going on. And this time I'm going to aim for the top of this block, just like with the last route, and boost my way up. The top of the block, boost up. And then it's the same as the other routes, and this one actually did pretty good. Grapple with the dash, as close to the vertical as possible, and then weave out and back in, and boom, you hit the remnant. And if you want to take a look at what Snowballs looks like, very similar. You can see all the little jumps in between, grappling as much as possible, and a very good weave at the end. So, now you're wondering to yourself, well, what did the top 2 routes do, myself and Chesda? And this one has a very different beginning, which looks like this. once again that beginning at quarter speed this time. So for this beginning, if you want to attempt this, I'm actually going to change my text here to crazy, because you're crazy if you want to try this beginning. This one took me quite a lot of grinding and hurt my hands, so be warned in advance for this. What we're going to start off with is a dash to the left. Not a dash jump, just a simple dash to the left. So we spawn, we dash to the left, and then this takes a little bit of timing to figure out when you can actually perform this, but I'm going to do a pull, so that's a grapple and a jump, and then as soon as I input the pull, I'm going to turn to the right so that I'm facing away. And it'll look something like this. We pull and we start turning to the right. So I've input my grapple and then my jump, and now I'm facing to the right. As soon as this connects, I want to let go and start facing left, and then do a very small jump as well. A lot of inputs in quick succession. So you see this hits, I let go, turn to the left, and jump, and then immediately throw out another grapple so that I can maintain that speed. That tiny jump is going to cancel our vertical momentum. That's part of why we wanted to hold right, was so that our pull gets more horizontal and we have less vertical speed, so that our jump will actually stop us from continuing upwards. Then this grapple is going to come out, and then you'll see the chain of grapples that we do to compensate for not having as much height. We're going to grapple onto here, grapple far onto the underside for some extra speed, and then a full hop into a grapple, and the rest is the same as the previous route. Very spooky start. If you want to give that a try, feel free. It takes a long time to develop muscle memory for doing that consistently. I know I was about 10% success rate at hitting that when I tried it, so be warned in advance. Anyways, that has been Memorial. Hopefully I'll be making some more of these videos soon. As always, let me know if I missed anything or if there's anything that you want to see with these videos in the future. Until next time, have a wonderful evening, day, morning, night, whatever it may be. Bye.